Good evening, San Bernardino. So excited to be with you guys tonight. We are kicking off a new week, so I wanted to make sure that we are reviewing the agendas for the upcoming commission and board meetings. And, well, here we are. I'm going to wait, as always, for the notifications to go off because I know you guys are just getting it. In the meantime, I'm going to talk about how happy I am that it is still light outside at 7 o'clock. I know that there is a continued conversation on daylight savings time and switching back and forth. I love it. I really do. I like watching the spring come and longer extended hours. And then as it gets cold, we flip back and it gets darker earlier. And it just, I don't know. I like the shift, but that's just me. If you don't like it, that's okay too. But it feels good. So with that said, let's see. Okay, we are picking up some ground. Hi, Paula. Hi, Scott. Hi, Gina. Welcome back. Okay, so we're going to give it a couple more minutes. I see you guys are kicking on, but we've got a lot going on actually this week. We've got the Public Safety Commission meeting, Library Board, Planning Commission, Administrative Penalties. That's a new one. So I just saw it as I was reviewing tonight. And I will be doing, so for those who've asked like, hey, wait a minute, councils this week. Yes, I'm going to do the council meeting tomorrow night. I will post that in the morning so that people didn't get confused because there's a lot going on. So yeah, I will be covering the council meeting Monday night after I teach. So we'll be good. Hi, David. Okay, so I'm going to be sharing my screen directly from the city's website. Here's my thing. I know sometimes it gets kicked back. I am pretty sure since Zoom has started laying off employees that they don't work as well as they used to. So if you just see me, I will be bringing it back up. But here we go. Let me share my screen with you guys okay. Hopefully this stays up. If not, like I said, I'll bring it back up. But where I'm getting this information, I want to make sure that you all know is from itself. This is sanbernardino.prime.gov. This is where they post their agendas. And we are going to talk about the Public Safety and Human Relations Committee, the Library Board, the Planning Commission. Like I said, we'll do the City Council. And then we're also going to do the Administrative Okay, like I said, this is what's been happening whenever we're trying to little Zoom issues. So let me get back on and hopefully this will work. And I'm going to go straight to the packet of the Public Safety and Human Relations Commissions. If it happens again, we'll just have to jump back on. But let's get through it. So I don't want to be here like super late, but okay, so tomorrow is Monday, and at 6 p.m., the Public Safety and Human Relations Commission will meet. This used to be two different commissions years ago. Now it's two. So here we go. We've got every ward has their own commissioner, and Daniel Hernandez, the Director of Public Works, and Chief of Police, Darren Goodman, is also present at this committee meeting. Those of you who have asked, like, why don't I come to this one? It's just a scheduling issue. As you can see, it's at 6 p.m. I am a professor in the evening, so this just doesn't work out for my schedule, but I do like to cover it, and I'm always happy to reach out to, I know a couple of the commissioners, so if I have anything. You can also email your request to speak to Susan Sandoval at the city. This is the email address. I don't know if they would technically take questions if you're not able to make it, but at least you can make some stuff known. So we've got Daniel Longoria. We can talk about the fence around the mall. And hi, SB Strong. Thank you for joining tonight. We can talk about a couple things as we get into the Planning Commission. So Tonight or tomorrow night, they're going to be approving the draft of the minutes from their prior meetings. They're going to have a presentation on homeless encampment statistics, and that's going to be presented by Ernesto Salinas from Public Works, who is the Operations and Maintenance Division Manager. And then they're going to have a response to traffic related issues project update from I'm gonna try to say this, Asman Joseph from Public Works Traffic Engineer. As you've noted from my prior meetings, Asman also sits on the Development and Environmental Review Commission, and they're going to talk about traffic speed reduction measure on 40th Street, Valencia to Cajon. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to my thought right here. Pepper Tree Lane street lights analysis and the 28th Street H Street to Waterman Avenue project. Okay. They don't have any staff reports and they don't have any new business. So it does not seem like there is going to be any action taken by the Public Safety and Human Relations Commissions. This is just kind of like a presentation, receive and file. Then they are going to, items to be considered for future agenda is going to be Public Safety and Human Relations Commission announcements and reports. The items to be considered for future agenda is proposed that city institutes mandatory consequences for subjects that flee from police once contact is made or suspect is in custody. Vice Chair Carrillo. Well, let's talk about it. We'll see. Hi, Ron. Thank you for jumping in. I see you. So this is the draft minute. So they had a meeting February 13th. And if you guys don't know, the Public Safety Commission meeting meets at 201 North East Street on the 3rd floor. So that is basically where the city clerk's office has been, on the very top level of the parking structure. And you can go into their meeting at 6 o'clock. And it looked like they had a full board, and Daniel Hernandez was not present. And Captain Nelson Carrington, was the staff liaison for that one. And then Terry Elliott, the commissioner, the mayor's appointee, was excused from that meeting. So if you want to know what happened in the previous meeting, it looks like Esteva Mahia was present and Rangel Lawanda was present to talk about issues. John Schollenberger from the Arrowhead Neighborhood Association shared his views on different things, 28th to 8th Street and Waterman. So like I said, if you do come in and give a public comment, that is recorded and you can talk to the commission about stuff on and off the agenda. So these are also the draft minutes of other items that they discussed. And if you want to go back, you can, to make sure that whatever is there. Let me rotate this real quick. It's going to look weird. Hang on. So this is item 3. This is the Traffic and Engineering Department collision summary. So 40th Street and Harrison, there was a broadside. 40th Street and San Gabriel Street, there was a broadside. Improper turning on 40th and Golden. 40th and Harrison, there was a hit object. On 40th and David Way, there was a head-on. Hi, Thomas. So what this is and what this is showing you, and it states it at the top, I just want to make sure you guys can see that. It's called a collision summary report. And what it's doing is saying, this is the stuff that's going on that's directly related to 40th Street. And what the police department or traffic and engineering department has done, probably, and I'm going to say this, probably in coordination with the police department, they've looked at the reported incidences, and they're looking, and so traffic and safety is now making an analysis and interpretation of those reports and saying, we've got a problem here. We are getting a lot of accidents. And so they've also provided maps. What is this? Item 3B, public safety action. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is the next one. So they're providing maps of what's going on 40th. On item 3B, they're talking about the existing conditions of Pepper Tree Lane for lighting. So they're showing the the map and the analysis of that. And then I'm gonna rotate this back real quick. Hang on, so I can read it. They are talking about all existing light poles. So we moved from traffic. Now we're looking at lighting. Lighting policy states that residential streets of this type of spacing must be 300 plus 30 feet. Okay. Spacing between 30th and Linwood Drive found to be greater than 330 feet. Midpoint. So what they've done is saying, here's our policy. Here's the actual measurements. And this is what we're doing based on our policy. And I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about policy versus reality versus need tonight. And this is why I'm really excited to cover this, because you know, one of the things is that trees overgrow, like this one right at the top. Trim the trees back, and that'll help with existing lighting. Install a solar fixture to help emanate light in a certain intersection. They want to put a light on at 3060 Pepper Tree. They're going to, because there are no sidewalks in that neighborhood, they're going to need approval from the homeowner. And then the estimated cost of a light is $6,000, according to their information. And then an optional increase to the existing SCE owner streetlight fixture from 30 watt to 50 watt. So that's another type of like strength and how much lighting can be emitted from the light bulb. And that's all the information. So here's what I want to get at, because this is a very short agenda. But so in looking at the collision reports and the assessment of speed, so I live on a very busy street that wasn't always busy, but because my street is wider than normal residential streets, people are allowed to, you know, residential on residential streets, you can go between 15 to 25 miles an hour. Where I live, you can go 40 miles an hour, which means people drive 50 miles an hour. And the way that we assess accidents, a lot of things are hit and runs. So while I super appreciate the type of analysis that's been done on 40th Street, which, you know, a teacher was just hit and killed, I hope we can broaden the need for the type of changes. A lot of people in our community talk about needing speed bumps because the traffic is so bad and people are always racing. This is kind of where that analysis comes from, in being able to determine that. You hear like, well, public safety can't make it down your street if you have a bunch of speed bumps. There are other ways to mitigate that. So I'm really glad to see this type of analysis. If there's any questions, put them in the chat. I'm just trying to make sure I cover everything, but this is what's going on in the Public Safety and Human Relations Committee tomorrow. On Tuesday, we have the Library Board of Trustees. They are meeting at 3 p.m. at the Feldhelm Library. They are going to approve their draft minutes from February 14th. The month in review is going to be an oral report from the director. They're going to go over the library statistics and review the library budget, which is great. That's what they did in the last meeting. They have staff reports for temporary suspension, another temporary suspension, then a vendor service agreement. Approve a vendor service agreement between Bibliotheca and LLC for the annual service and maintenance extended warranty for vendors' equipment to prevent books not checked out to patrons from being taken out of city libraries. Okay. That sounds good. So this is the draft of the meeting on Valentine's Day of last month. Public comments, Jeanette McCaig and Treasurer Ortiz. I was there and I recorded it. We spoke on the library director's recommendation to limit usage of the Bing Wong Auditorium. We did not support that and asked the library to still allow the public to be able to rent the Bing Wong Auditorium. So like I said, when you come in and you give your opinion, you can, things happen. And so the recommendation was for the city not to restrict public usage. And I mean, look, I want to say something, because We were two people, two residents that came and had a voice on this one issue. And because we showed up, which is not always easy, but it's necessary because these help the boards and commissions and committees understand a portion of what the community is feeling. So I'm happy that we went. The library director is giving the monthly report, an oral report to President Tillman. They're talking about a program titled the San Bernardino Civil Rights Voices from the Bridge that carried us over the project. The speaker is Dr. Jennifer Tilton. Very cool. Romaine Washington and Miss Vicki Lee. So if you want to hear about that, the In and Out cover to cover spring reading program for ages 4 to 12 is scheduled for March 4th through April 15th. They're going to review the library statistics from September, October. So how many people, came, books checked out, and then the year-to-date budget library. I don't know if that's all we're going to go over. A snapshot of the fiscal, all this stuff you can download. Gina, let's see, the community needs to be more involved. Absolutely, yes. The community really needs to jump in, which is not always easy depending on scheduling, but man, get in where you can fit in and show up when you can. We have a lot of people that utilize our libraries and different facilities throughout the city. This is a great snapshot. Via Senior, I've heard they have discovered black mold in this library that they need to fix behind the panels. So I'm wondering, and I'm hoping that this cost does not hurt the library for maintenance. My understanding of black mold is it takes a lot of time and it has to go uncaught for many years for it to get to the place where it is. So I will bring that back in another agenda. But here's the budget. Kind of went over it last time. If you want to see more, the library budget is a very low budget, but they do a lot with what they're given. So if you really want to look more in depth, you're more than welcome to. Let me scroll down. So somebody had asked the other day about temporary suspensions. So what they do is they block people who are causing problems, disorderly conduct in the library. And they have their people in the front tell them like, hey, we have to suspend you. You've done, willfully disrupt the public's ability to use the library. Some of it may be homeless people. I know someone asked about that. Some of it may be just unruly patrons, but they do take their pictures. They've put and what I appreciate about this is like, it's literally a process. It's not like one or two people are like, I don't want this person in the library. This is what we've had to go through with this person. And so I like that it is a transparent process. And then the last thing that they're going to talk about is a vendor service agreement for protecting books that haven't been checked out. This is agreement. The cost is $3,373.32 for Feldhelm Library and $4,247 for branches. So a little over an 8,000. Well, no, 7. I'm not super good at that. Like under $8,000 to keep the books in good condition. So that's the library trustee board. There's nothing I see that I want to speak on, but if there's something you do, you have a little more information. I know people are like, well, what's going on with the planning commission? Okay, let's talk about the planning commission. There's a lot going on. As you may or may not remember, they canceled the planning commission meeting last month because they failed to post the agenda in time. And I reached out to the city clerk. People reached out to the city clerk and they're like, oh, the director didn't post the agenda. Okay, fine. Then there was this special meeting called for the planning commission. And here's my thing. Special meetings, an emergency meeting has to constitute an emergency. What the director proposed was not an emergency. It didn't constitute an emergency. And it's that misusing postings is problematic. So I just want to let everybody know, like, you didn't miss anything. They literally missed state of the meeting. So they're going to approve the draft minutes of February of January 10th, and they're going to approve the minutes of February 27th, which was their special meeting. Yeah, Gina, it stinks. Like a little, but a lot. So we'll look into it. So those are the minutes. There's approval for a subdivision and ratification for the denial of a conditional use permit and minor exceptions. The request to allow the consolidation of 7 parcels into 1 tentative parcel containing a total approximate of 2.43 acres to allow the development, establishment, and operations of a self-storage facility comprised of 2 multi-story buildings containing a total of approximately 109,000 square feet. Okay, so I want to talk about this. This is what they said they called the special meeting for. Was in the last January meeting, they denied the building of the storage facility. Councilwoman in the 6th ward got up, residents got up and were like, hey, no, we don't want a storage facility. Then they said, oh, well, the other part of this was not just denying the storage facility, but you didn't disagree. Nobody disagreed with consolidating the 7 parcels. And it was like, and here's the thing, I was at that meeting, right, in January. The city never presented on that. They never brought it up. And then when they posted the special meeting, they provided what they said at was like bad information, because then all of a sudden it was talking about a surplus land act. So this right here, this number 3, this is worrisome to me, because I don't believe, and I normally wait till my comments till the end, but I'm gonna tell you on this one, I don't believe that the planning staff and the community and economic development department is being truthful about this. I don't quite understand this. Like, what is the subdivision of these parcels have to do with everything that's going on? So just keep that in the back of your mind. They have the ratification. Okay, this is big. This is super, super big. The ratification of denial of the Development Code Amendment 22-6. So remember, the city was coming back to the Planning Commission and being like, hey, we want to create an ordinance to allow grinding on site. And for the course of 5 months, the Planning Commission worked diligently, super, super diligently on researching grinding, looking into how to build the most safe and compliant code they possibly could. And I watched the meetings, I spoke with commissioners, I took their understanding. I mean, I was like, okay, I see where you're coming from. And they put in so much time and effort to address every question and concern the community could have about grinding on site. And the day of the vote, what they concluded was there is no way we could ever guarantee the safety of this community. There is no way, with everything that we know about silica dust and grinding, that we could ever allow that type of hazard to reach the lungs of our community and children and schools and air. And so they unanimously voted to deny any addition to the municipal code to allow on-site grinding and crushing in our city. And I applaud them for that. It was, so tomorrow, Tuesday, I'm going to try and make it and thank them and tell them, because let's be honest, Theodore Sanchez and Fred Charette are still trying to push this through. They are still trying to allow for the grinding of silica dust into the atmosphere of our community, just for the Oxbow. And so I don't agree. Teddy Sanchez's standpoint was he doesn't think that the 5th ward is worthy of having things cleaned up because they're too affluent. that people should, that if you have money, you should have to breathe this into your lungs. Well, he should go tell that to the people at the school, because that's his whole rationale behind it. He was like, the machines are so clean, you could eat lunch. Well, if Teddy wants to suck off the back of a diesel engine that's grinding cement, do you? But what the research shows is that it is toxic, and it is extremely bad for everybody's health. And what Fred Shred is thinking, I don't understand, because none of the research shows that he's correct. I don't know how people feel one way or another about a council member, but the way you should feel about your community at large should coincide with your thoughts. So I'm gonna leave that at that. But if you want to support this, what I would recommend is letting the commission know you're in full support behind them. But when this comes to the council, y'all, if you do not want on-site crushing, you better come to that community meeting, because we'll get to that in my thoughts. There'll be a public hearing on the subdivision and conditional use permit of a property comprised of 3 parcels containing approximately 6.4 acres, and then another 4 parcels containing 2.53 acres. This is a bunch. This is a commercial zone mitigated negative declaration. It's owned by PCG South Shores, and they want them to adopt the mitigated negative declaration and approve the subdivision of those parcels. So I am not seeing. Okay, I just got a text. Someone asked if I will let you guys just read this. So, okay, go ahead and read this real quick. Go ahead. Okay, I hope that's enough time, because that's a lot. But so there, yeah, I'm getting text and live. So we need to start. Okay, we need to start water projects. San Bernardino has a water tundra under it, and they won't stop pumping the water. Okay, we'll talk about that. Absolutely. So if you, and here's the thing. So this is at 4200 North University Parkway. Okay, now I understand. You said you were in the 5th ward. Okay. So this is the project right off of the freeway. The drive-through express car wash. This is where the Panera is going. Yes, Debbie, yes. Where the Scottish Rite burned down. Okay. Like I said, if you ever need me to slow down, please don't hesitate to ask, because I want to make sure you guys can see this. Bliss Car Wash is right next to the site. We don't need another car wash. Scott, I want to reserve, but yeah, we're going to see more car washes popping up. And I agree with you. I'm like, how clean do y'all need your cars? But yes, so this is the Scottish Rite former location. And this is where they're bringing in a Panera, a Dutch Brothers. It doesn't say it on here, but I'm sure it'll say it in the backup material, but the car wash and one other place. So, okay. Thank you. I'm glad you guys had the time to read that. They're looking for a conditional use permit, a request to allow development, establishment, and operation of a drive-through express car wash containing 3,596 square feet on a property comprised of 2 parcels containing approximately 1.4 acres. All right, Scott, are you ready? This is on the southwest corner of Kendall Drive and Shandon Hills. So this is right across from Stater Brothers. And if you are familiar with this, there is a car wash across the street. There is a car wash about a block away. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt the resolution approving the conditional use permit based on the findings of fact and subject to the recommended conditions of approval, and finding that the project is categorically exempt under California Environmental Quality Act. Okay, I'm going to bring this up right now because this project was on an agenda for the Development and Environmental Review Committee. As you guys know, we are right in the middle of challenging all decisions that that board made because they didn't follow the Brown Act. This is one of the projects that they approved to move forward without any backup material. And what I find problematic is here we are, like here's available land, and what I'm hearing is like the best this land can do is create another car wash across from 2 other car washes. So I'm with Karen on this one. I'm with Paula on this one. I'm gonna face plant. I think we have better use. I think I'm gonna show up and speak on that one. So, okay, car wash. A conditional use permit, a request to allow the development and establishment of a wireless telecommunications facility consisting of a 75-foot tall mono eucalyptus tower and ground mounted equipment enclosure on 118 North Pepper. It's commercial. Let's see, they recommend adopting the resolution based on the finding of facts and subject to the recommended conditions and approval. That's interesting. I don't know. Now my understanding, I could be wrong, is that a public hearing would be required to let residents know that a tower is coming, but maybe that doesn't fall under that. So we can definitely find out. Extension of time, a request to allow a 1-year time extension for development permit 18-02 involving the development and establishment of an industrial warehouse building containing approximately 101,464 square feet on a project site comprised of 4 parcels containing a total of approximately 5.25 acres on Inland Center Drive in Ward 3. They're approving, they want to approve the extension. So if you're in Ward 3, and I will wait on this one, that is coming your way. That would possibly, it's been in the works and it could be possibly coming your way. Item number 9, subdivision of 21-04 and development permit. A request to allow the consolidation of 11 parcels containing a total of 13.91 acres and the development and establishment of a truck and trailer parking facility. This would be the northwest corner of Foothill Boulevard and Macy Street in Ward 6. Okay. Staff recommends the Planning Commission adopt the resolution denying the subdivision and the development permit and finding the project subject to the statutory exemption. So they want to deny. Let me see, a request to allow the consolidation of 11 parcels containing a total of approximately 13.91 acres. And the recommendation denying the subdivision, but of 04 and the development permit. I'm going to be honest, and this is why I cover it. I'm hoping that this means they don't want this. They're denying it, denying the subdivision and the development permit. Okay, so they don't want this in the 6th ward. Okay. All right. Did we approve the warehouse moratorium? We did not approve that. It would take 5 votes to approve a moratorium, and we did not have the votes. And so the previous mayor vetoed the 4. We didn't have what we needed. Item 10 is a variance, a request to allow a variance to reduce the required minimum front yard setback from 25 feet to 14 feet, a minimum rear yard setback from 15 feet to 12 feet for the development and installation of pre-manufactured single residence on a parcel containing approximately 0.14 acres. So this would be on West 10th Street for Habitat for Humanity. And so it looks like they want to put a new home in, and it's the parcel is maybe a little too small, and they need a 10 foot easement in the roughly 10 foot in the front and 3 feet in the back to be able to put this manufactured home. And that's it for this meeting. Okay, I'm gonna go through the comments because there was a bunch. So let's see what we have here. So we need to start out a water project. San Bernardino has a water tundra under, and they won't pump the water. If they pump the water, everyone would be rich and self-sufficient in Inland Empire. So Chris, this has been a discussion. We talk about the geothermals, and today we was just having a conversation about the hot springs that we used to have and what harnessing this natural resource would mean. So absolutely, we just have to figure out what type of development would come and who wants to bring those type of projects. So that's a really good topic for discussion. The car washes, we have a lot. Every time I turn around, someone's building a car wash. Now, we know that the state has, there was a state law that's in place that says now you cannot wash your car in your yard at home. You have to go to a car wash facility because of the toxins and the runoffs and oil and stuff that we put into the gutters that go into the storm drains. And car washes have become far more efficient and environmental friendly because they recycle the water. Absolutely, totally agree. Not that I don't wash my car at home with limited water and blah, 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 blah. And I do go to car washes, but here's my thing. Every time you build a gas station, there's 50% of the time I'm seeing a car wash go in. We have hand car washes. We have semi-hand car washes. We have fully automated car washes. And we're talking 2 or 3 across the street from each other. To me, this is like liquor stores and fast food places. It's like, how do we not have any type of other substantial development that we could bring to our city? That's just my 2 cents on it. So I'm not in favor, and I'm going to tell the commission, I'm not in favor of right here on Kendall across the street from the Stater Brothers building another car wash. We have 2. Either you want to get out of your car or you don't want to get out of your car. You have the choice, but to do a whole nother one, that just doesn't make sense to me. Let's see. Someone asked about the 5th ward. Where was it? Do we need more trucks on 5th Street? That's Foothill. I'm not a fan of parking trucks on available land, and I'll tell you why. The health and safety alone of watching trucks dump and leak into the ground. I mean, we know that's a problem, and most of these places aren't up to the environmental standards they need to be. So there's a lot here that I think is an issue. And this is why we're challenging as a group the Development and Environmental Review Committee, because all this stuff is like, it's exempt, it's exempt, it's exempt. Well, they haven't yet to show a single report of why these things are exempt and why they don't have to be environmentally regulated. So it's that kind of stuff that does worry me. Okay, so that's for the Planning Commission. If you have any other questions, throw that in there. And let's go to the agenda for the administrative civil penalties hearing of San Bernardino. So this is interesting because it looks very different. Here we go. Okay, so the administrative civil penalties hearing of San Bernardino hearing officer, compliance hearings. So these are for business registration. Department of Business Registration is going for Burger King. They're finding them $100 a day. JCPenney is going to be fined $100 a day. Town and Country Real Estate, $100 a day. Non-compliance hearing is a restaurant for $100 a day. Garage and auto body, $100 a day. We're just going to list them. San Bernardino Machine Shop, $100 a day. I guess they're out of compliance. Let's find out why. So they serve them a notice. And let's see what the notice says. Here we go. So the owner of Burger King on Redlands Boulevard, that's where I used to live over there. Pursuant to the San Bernardino Municipal Code, an administrative hearing has been set for March 16th at 10 a.m. The hearing will begin at 10 a.m. and continue until all hearings are completed. Please enter the parking structure, blah, 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 blah. All right, pursuant, an administrative hearing will be scheduled if a responsible party requests a hearing in the form of the event of continuing a violation in order for the administrative hearing officer to determine the amount of the fine for continuing a violation. Okay, but what's their violation? Here we go. Proof of service. Okay. Is it me or am I on glue on why they are, what their violation is? Let's keep going before I failure to appear. If you wish to pay the amount, so they're being charged $100 for. Here we go. Okay, administrative hearing, $100 a day. Factors considering pursuant to duration, good faith complying, Burger King, operating without a valid business license. Okay, so here we go. Thank you, Scott. No business license. And here's the thing. I always like to make sure it's in writing before we just make that massive assumption that so Burger King off of Redlands Boulevard does not have a business license. Well, not that they haven't, but they just don't right now. Maximum rate shall be $1,000 per day. Administrative penalties should not exceed $100,000 per parcel. Okay. All right. So they're going to their penalties. And this is, there we go. So this is what the administrative penalties is to collect money on invalid licenses, expired licensing. So you can always check this. It's public. Yeah. And look, I'm a stickler for this is how we get our money. So make sure you have your licenses in place. $800. I mean, for some, these are a drop in the bucket. You got Penny Corporation. They owe. They have a renewal, so they didn't respond. Okay. All right. That all makes sense. Let me come back here before we close out. Okay, so super appreciate your guys' and time tonight, looking over the different agendas. You can always go to sbcity.org into the city clerk's office and update yourself on more in depth in the separate agendas, because there's a lot of information. I try to keep this as compact as possible because I know, it can get overwhelming or, too much. So if you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to ask. As I know some of us, this is your first time, and I'm super excited. So I want to, I know some of you already know things, but I love the questions. I really, really do. So if you want to attend these meetings, by all means, please make sure that you do. You have the right to speak at every public posted meeting. Without your opinion, the commissioners don't always know which direction to go. Sometimes they can be led by their council person. Sometimes, they're just flying blind. What I do appreciate, and I will say this about the Planning Commission and the Library Board, and some of the Public Safety Commission, I don't know everybody, but we have some really, really great commissioners, especially for me on the Planning Commission, that do their homework, that move so thoroughly through every item that they are. It's amazing. It just really is, and it makes me not worry when I can't be there, because I know they've done their due diligence to make the right decisions. Regardless, and here's the thing, regardless of if we agree on what it is, I know that the majority of the planning commissioners are out there doing their homework. And so I really appreciate that. If you guys have, like I said, any additional questions, please put it in the chat. I appreciate you watching this. And if you can, share it so that everybody can understand what's coming this week. And then, like I said, tomorrow night at 7:30, I will be doing the agenda review for the upcoming city council meeting. And if you want to get ahead of that, I'll post the link to the agenda before I get to it, so we can kind of go over some stuff if you would like. So thank you, Virginia, Scott, Paula, Gina, Ron, Debbie, Dave, Karen, everybody that jumped in. I super appreciate you guys too. Remember, we are here to engage, educate, and empower our city, and this is how we do it. So have yourselves a super great rest of your night, and I will see you tomorrow. Good night.